Hello everyone. Well, I got a little more wood today, so we're going to continue on this project here. We're going to make the door frame today. But before we get started, I want to show you a few things. One of my YouTube friends asked me why I do not use the door that's in there. Well, the problem is the door is only 60 inches tall. Inches, 5 feet. And the reason it is short is because this section of the shed, before I built this part here, was metal, and the roof was limited to that height. I will open up the door and I'll show you inside here. Now there's not much light in here, so we're using the Nikon L24 because it's a little better in low light. It's going to be a little hard because it's a little dark and there's no light in here. There was a light bulb, but I don't have one for this side of the shed. But as you can see, the original shed is metal. This addition, as you can see, is metal. And I simply put 2x4s in there and put the OSB board on the top. And on the sides is metal. So I was limited by the height of this add-on metal shed that I bought and built and added on years ago. So that limited me to the door height. Well, when I made this addition, I wanted to be able to stand up in it. So down here, it's about 6 inches lower. I purposely did that, and I put this ramp in here so that I'd have this floor down lower so I can stand up, and also the roof up higher so I can stand up. So the door over here is going to be roughly 68 inches high, not 5 feet, because I'll be wrapping my noodle in this every time I come through here, like I used to do here. This is why this foam is here. I'm limited by the height here, and that's why the roof is uneven on the outside. And that is why this roof is higher than this one, because I've simply followed the contour of the add-on metal shed. There's metal behind here. Of course, there's 2x4s too. We got this, then we're going to put a 2x4 after we nail this in. We're going to put a 2x4 on the flat over here. That'll form the door casing. Now these are all pre-drilled here. So we're going to put a number 10 in here. 12s will go right through the other side. 10s, just a point will come through on the two 2x4s. So we're clamped here to keep it tight. And we'll nail this, and then we'll bring the clamp down here, make sure it's even, flush, and we'll nail that. Now, take the clamp out and bring it down to the bottom. But before we do that, we got to make sure we're flushed out here. Down low, and we'll put one nail down at the bottom, and then we'll just simply go along and nail all the others that I've pre-drilled. Alright, try to do the best I can. When it's humid or hot or anything, I lose my patience, and I have a short fuse. I try not to have a short fuse, but when it's hot and humid, I can't stand working. But I want to get the project done. Alright, we got this piece here. This is going to be the door casing here. We already pre-drilled a couple of holes. Of course, naturally, when I pre-drill, you only pre-drill in the first piece of stock. You do not drill in where you're going into. I assume you all know that. Right, now, what I'm going to do is pre-drill down the bottom here, and put a nail in the bottom and nail the rest of this. Okay, they're all pre-drilled and nails are ready to go. Eyesight ain't the best, as I missed the nail head. You said join in two pieces. This is where the striker plate's going to be. You want it to be strong. Hinges go on this side. Okay, upon close examination, you can see where I had the bottom. It's a spider up there, but he's free. He don't cost anything. This piece here was part of the main support for this. You know, kind of like when I originally made this overhang. So we just come down flush with this 2x4, and we come all the way down, and that serves as the door casing. This is pretty well flushed out here. Screw this to the top of this piece. Well, actually, it'll be screwed in this end, and the piece will come out like this. So the door will be, you know, like this. I'll square it off and check it out. So it'll come probably about here. Now, I'm not using this piece, but I'm using it as a demo. It'll go like this. So the support will be down here. But this will go all the way to the wall on the 2x4. And up here, I have to angle it, and I'm going to show you why. How well this camera is going to focus in on this. But from the floor to the corner is 69.5 inches, right to this. There's roughly 2 finger widths between the top of my head and this very end here. Probably more like right here. So if I was to take this 2x4 and just put it straight across like this, well, I'm going to be 1.5 inches lower. So what I got to do is to taper this. So I got to cut this overhead on a taper and then mount it in. So it's almost no wood here on this end, and then a full 1.5 inches wide in the rest of it. So that'll give me the maximum door height. Because I don't want to wrap my head into anything. I've wrapped my head so many times in that little door back there. That's why I put the foam on there. Well, it's a few hours later. A little more comfortable out here. So what I had done, and it's not on video, was I just tacked up this 2x6. And I just sprayed some white paint here on the end of the OSB board that was originally put on this metal shed. This is going to serve, well, it's only 60 inches, but I'm going to add another piece here. This is going to serve as a base for my 2x4 to go on here, because this wall here is a 2x4 on edge here. So that only is like 1.5 inch nailer in here. So I'm only going to be able to nail like this, because the rest of this is nothing really to nail to. So this will serve as my foundation, and on this I'll put the 2x4s and bring them out to make the casing for the doorway. So we'll get started on that. Alright. Of course we got a pre-drill into the 2x6 only. a nail in the top and we've got a nail in the bottom. So we'll get started on this right now. Could use 12s. I'm using 10s. I'm going through 7/16 OSB garbage before we get to the 2x4. Now if you look closely, you'll see where this is just painted white with some white aerosol oil-based paint. There's the OSB here, this is the OSB, and we're flushed out here. So what we're going to do when we come out with the 2x and everything, we'll put a piece of trim right over here. I had to remove the old trim. I got a little piece down at the bottom here where you can't see it out. It's off camera right now that I got to remove. And we'll just go right up to when we get it all finished, then I'll put a piece of trim on that. Or I might put a piece of trim on a painted redwood. I'm not sure yet, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Alrighty, I got that little piece in there, and I nailed it in. Now, as I had said quite a number of times on this video alone, never mind the other video, all this wood's from the bargain bin, 50 cents a piece, or 51 cents a piece, you want to get technical. This is the 60-inch piece of 2x6. And it was 51 cents. An 8-foot 2x6 would cost a hell of a lot more than 51 cents. So we don't mind piecing in this. But when we are doing the door casing, we had to buy full length, in this case 96-inch length pieces of 2x4s, because we didn't want any seams, we wanted a continuous run. But for this stuff here, it's fine to have it pieced in like this, because the 2x4 is going over the top of this anyways. This is just like a backer plate. As I said, I bought full length 2x4s. 96 inches is fine because I don't need the full 8 foot because I got to cut them off anyways. But I did need a complete run for my 68 or 69 inch high door frame. So we want to use full pieces. So to start out here, I'm going to take a 2x4 and I'm going right up to here, and I'm going right down to the floor with it. And it's going to be recessed in. This is supposed to be flushed out. I wanted this to be flushed out. But the 2x4 is going to have to be, we got a mark on the floor here. So the 2x4 edge is going to be right here, and it'll come over to 3.5 inches over to about here. So it'll be recessed in a little bit, which is what I want, so that the door casing will be proper. And then once we get that piece in, then as I showed you, we're going to taper that piece and we're going to come across and we're going to come on top of another 2x4. And that'll probably determine the width of my door. I want enough material here so that I can put on good heavy hinges like I got here. This is the type of hinge I want to have on it to hold the door. On the main shed I used 5 hinges. Here. Built it completely different. Now someone asked me, why don't I just use this door and close that other one in? Not put a door there at all. Well, as you can see, there's no way in hell I'm going to get the snowblower up. The snowblower is on the other side of this wall with the shelves. Alright, so if I eliminated all this, this is my wife's storage stuff. This is Christmas things and Easter stuff and everything. You know, I'd have to empty this space out. You'd never get the snowblower out of here and out through this door. That's why I built that side shed to begin with. Alright, I got the 2x4 up there and we're going to nail it. Hey folks, I got Tommy out here doing a little videotaping here. Now we already put up a 2x4. We're going to add another 2x4, which if I get this ruler to cooperate with me here. They get another one, 73.25 with a slight angle because the roof tapers down, slopes down. We're going to put another piece, a full length 2x4 right like this. All right, and then we're going to put one more out here. And what we're going to do on the one that we're going to put out over the top, we're going to use a full length piece here. And then we're going to cut it down. This third 2x4 I put on here is going to come down like this, so that this piece comes across and sits roughly wherever I take the square out. I check and see where this piece that I got an angle I showed you earlier in the video is going to come down and sit on here. That's the part that I got to make in one piece. Okay, 73 inches. That's for the second 2x4. 73. 73. Yes, sir. We have to put an angle on this, but I cut this just a little long, and then I'll put the angle on afterwards. You got to put the little slope angle on this. Okay, folks, here we go again. Okay, we'll nail one at the bottom. That's how we get them all leveled here. And we gotta just make sure that we're proper here. Just double check it. Okay, I always check these 2x4s at Home Depot because they got a smooth cement floor, and they always put them on the floor and make sure that they're not warped. You pay enough for wood these days as it is. $2.60 or something like that a piece. It's awful humid today. I'm working as much as I can. You know, it's worse because I'm in there and it's hot. I'll be glad when the cold weather gets here. Not the ice cold weather. Anybody that likes the heat and emit these nuts in the head, and I'll tell them so. Even when I was a kid, I used to hang out down in this cellar. We lived in an apartment house in the city. I had my workshop down in the cellar. When everybody's sweating their kahoonies off, upstairs. I'm down in the cellar where it's nice and cool. Alright, what I did here is I temporarily put a strip of wood in here, temporary piece of wood here, just to lay here, and just tack this 2x4 in here. Because we want to make sure that this is going to be a square, and it's almost perfect. After all, when I built this framework here for the overhang, I wasn't too concerned with perfect angles, you know, perfect squareness. But we're not bad off, so what we're going to do here, we're going to take and cut this piece that goes across the top with the angle I told you about, so that we get the height we want. Right now, I don't wrap my head. I can feel my hair touching this, but I don't wrap my head into it. So this would be the lowest the door. Now if I put a threshold down here, and I step on the threshold, that's going to be 1.5 inches higher. I will wrap my noodle, and I don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is probably, maybe not even put a threshold in here. If we do, we're going to put like a 3/4 inch piece of wood. Alright, so we're going to go cut the piece that's going to be angled and goes in here. Alright, I tried to put an angle on using this. It's not easy. I could have got the table saw out and did it. But we just got to trim up the middle of it a little. It's not as much of an angle as I wanted it to be. Alright, I'm holding this up. This is my mark here. It's not down to a very sharp point. It's only angled a little bit, so we're going to sacrifice about 3/4 inch right here of height. We've already squared it off. Although it looks crooked, that's only because of the illusion of this taper here. She is square perfectly. So what I'm going to do, pre-drill this and then use those screws in here, because nailing uphill is not one of my favorite things to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this, nail it onto here. I'm going to take this 2x4 back out because it's only laying here. We're going to nail this on here. We're going to bring it over in one piece, and we'll put it in place over here. Trying to hold this thing down. But anyways, nailing this. Using 16s. Okay. Now, this is my method of madness. It's already nailed up here. I don't have to worry about it. Now, we take this over to the job site. This is nailed in good enough that this isn't going to hang down on me. Actually, I have to bring it out like this to get it past. Bam. Nail sticking out a little bit much here. Alright. Naturally we have to pre-drill and nail all this. And we screw this up. We're not going to be able to I'm going to bend the damn thing over. Damn, that's hard. Alright, well, she's in. Let's take a square to it and see how crooked it is. I'm afraid to try. Well, it's a little off, but I ain't going to worry about it. It's not precision. This is why I say I'm no carpenter. All right, here we go. We got them all started here now, all pre-drilled. Hole here. Getting damn late in the day. Losing daylight here and I can't see the damn nail heads. Okay. Well, back up here. As you can see, take a measurement, but I think it's about 36 inches. 35, 36 inch door. Alright, here's the next day now. Cloudy, but okay. Well, this is a piece of 1 by 4.5 inches is what I measure in the width. So we're going to use that. Over here as a fascia. We're going to use long screws, so we'll go through this and into the 2x4 for those big hinges that I showed you that door has. Before I can do anything, I got to cut a slight angle on this here. And then when I get this piece up, and of course naturally it's not the full length, but I don't mind butting these up because this is good wood and it fits good and even, since I'm using power tools to cut nice even cuts. And up here I'm going to take and put a 3/4 stock up in here, so it'll be flush with this. So that'll have a piece going across too, but I have to cut it, of course, on the angle for the roof. One thing at a time. Let's get started with this. Okay, in order to draw the angle, use a little bit of small piece of plywood here, and you just hold the piece. Make sure this is all the way up and over, and we hold this in place. And we draw the line. Okay. As you can see, there's the angle right there that we want. And we just take that over to the chop saw. Alright, I'm going to nail it in. Again, I'm not worrying about using finishing nails on this. Using number 4 galvanized. Use number 4 finish nails galvanized. You tend to hit the 2x4, they probably will bend over. Finish nails are much thinner. The shank is too thin and they bend over very easy. I don't need to use finish nails in this because this is not a piece of furniture. It's not a house, it's a shed. Alright, here's the angle. One nail in there for now. I'll just show you. Alright, the angle's right up in there, nice. I painted the end white with the paint. That's what you see there. There was, the wood had a little green paint on it. That's because it was 51 cents a piece. This small section to do here. Now you notice some white paint there. This is regular pine, so we're going to have a lot of water collection down here. The wood's going to use pressure treated, and I do have pressure treated, but I don't want to mix the pieces together. So I put a little white here. I'm going to spray a little white here. It helps a little. It probably don't do all that much, but it's oil based. So by doing this, it'll protect the wood. Do put the piece in place. When I cut a piece of wood, I always cut it a blade width, you know, the thickness of the blade, longer than needed, and then I come back and trim it again. You don't see that on video, but that's how you get a good fit. If I had to cut that by hand, that would look like hell. Now we're going to nail that in, but you don't need to see me do that on video. You've seen me before. Okay, a little closer look here. I just simply put paint on the wood and on the base. Paint this white. These are galvanized, so not to worry about it. What I'll do here is probably put a piece of trim from here to here. Probably, I would imagine, paint that white. Cover up this OSB edge here. Now, what I got to do here is to put the plywood in here and cut the angle. I had to fill in this portion of the roof to make it even, so I have a good place to butt my plywood up, and then I just put caulking in there so the caulking's not dry yet, and I'll paint that white when I do this whole frame.